One Alabama lawmaker wants to further restrict unemployment benefits in the state, which already have some of the most ungenerous policies in the country.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Here is what workers in the U.S. South and the American colonies were up to from August 30th to September 6th. This is Last Week in Southern Labor. 599 workers in 10 bargaining units are in new union campaigns. 15 workers in one bargaining unit started and stopped a union campaign in the same week. And 22 workers in one unit are in a raid, and 74 workers in one unit are in a new decertification campaign. Starting off strong with 276 workers at UNFI in Sarasota, Florida, demanding voluntary recognition with the Teamsters Local 79. 121 workers at International Rescue Committee in Atlanta, Georgia, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Office and Professional Employees International Union, OPEIU Local 179. OPEIU is on a tear organizing at this company. You can listen to our interview with IRC workers at Abilene, Texas, just ahead of the company voluntarily recognizing their union there. 64 workers at Rivers Casino in Portsmouth, Virginia, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Teamsters Local 822. 43 workers at Beat LLC in San Antonio, Texas, filed a petition to hold a union election with OPEIU Local 4873. 19 workers at Starbucks in Orlando, Florida, filed a petition to hold a union election with Starbucks Workers United. 15 workers at Science Applications International Corporation, SAIC, in Leesburg, Virginia, filed a petition to hold a union election with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, IAMAW. The United Government Security Officers of America, Local 387, is trying to raid a unit of 22 security guards at Allied Universal Security Services in Washington, D.C. from Union Rights for Security Officers, URSO. 8 workers at Bale Bros in Jonesboro, Georgia, filed a petition to hold a union election with the International Union of Operating Engineers, IUOE, Local 926. 7 workers at Northwood Health Systems in New Martinsville, West Virginia, filed a petition to hold a union election with apparently an independent union, Northwood Workers Union. Workers likely pushed by their employer and aided by the National Right to Work Foundation filed a petition to decertify the Teamsters Local 988 as the union representing 74 workers at PepsiCo in Houston, Texas. 53 workers at Sigma Network in Kansas City, Missouri, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Teamsters Local 955. 15 workers at Herc Entertainment Services in Atlanta, Georgia, filed and then withdrew in the same week a petition to hold a union election with the Teamsters Local 728. 2 workers at Avis Rental Service in Louisville, Kentucky, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Teamsters Local 89. In election results, 1,119 workers across 5 bargaining units are newly unionized last week. 20 workers in one unit withdrew their election petition, and 5 workers in one unit voted against unionization. 1,000 workers at Ultium Cells in Spring Hill, Tennessee. Ultium Cells is a joint venture owned in part by GM. Those workers have been voluntarily recognized by the company as they unionized with the United Auto Workers, UAW. 46 workers at the Texas Freedom Network in Austin, Texas, withdrew their petition for a union election with the United Professional Organizers because, according to the union in correspondence with the Valley Labor Report, they secured voluntary recognition. 20 workers at Did Lake in Virginia Beach, Virginia, withdrew their petition for a union election with the Public Service Employees Local Union 572, an affiliate of LIUNA. 11 workers at Starbucks in Clearwater, Florida, voted 8-1 in favor of unionization with Starbucks Workers United. 30 workers at a Kroger fulfillment center in Forest Park, Georgia, voted 24-1 in favor of unionization with the Teamsters Local 528. 32 workers at Piedmont Athens Regional Medical Center in Athens, Georgia, voted 20-9 in favor of unionization with IUOE Local 926. And 5 workers at Ryder Transportation in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, voted 2-3 against unionization with the Teamsters Local 89.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
In strikes and bargaining updates, the SPLC has a lengthy statement on Facebook and Twitter about the lingering effects of the massive layoffs in June affecting their immigration work, with several statements from former clients. CWA withdrew from mediations last week after saying that AT&T was only using mediation as a stall tactic and was still not bargaining in good faith. Subsequently, the company responded with a full offer for the first time in negotiations, according to the CWA, and told the union that they would keep negotiating, but then went around and told the media that it was the final offer. The CWA insists that the offer does not meet economic demands and that it continues to be committing unfair labor practices, which the union charged the company with earlier. The Association of Flight Attendants, AFA-CWA, members at United Airlines voted 99% in favor of authorizing a strike if necessary, demanding an industry-leading contract. Meanwhile, Teamsters at United Airlines, which are the aircraft maintenance workers, are also in negotiations and held rallies across the country, including in Florida, to demand a fair contract. Workers at the National Audubon Society, an environmental conservation organization where workers are unionized with the Bird Union, CWA Local 1180, charged, and the NLRB agreed that the company is not bargaining in good faith. In response, the union will begin a 3-day strike next week, and the company is joining Tesla in arguing that the NLRB is unconstitutional. After a 1-day unfair labor practice strike in May, staff at the United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW, International Union in D.C., unionized with the News Guild Local 32035, ratified a contract last week with higher wages, more telework, and more leave. Almost immediately after the Apple Retail Union, CWA Local 6016, held an informational picket in front of the Apple retail store where they work in Oklahoma City and authorized a strike to protest the lengthy contract negotiations, which have been going on for 2 years. The bargaining committee secured a tentative agreement containing job protections, increased wages, and health insurance, becoming only the second Apple store in the United States to have a union contract. Members will vote on the tentative agreement on the 22nd of September. Nurses at Mission Hospital in Asheville, North Carolina, voted 97% in favor of authorizing the bargaining team to call a strike if necessary, as they say that management is refusing to budge on key issues. In political and legislative updates, service workers, city workers, airport workers, and farm workers from across North Carolina gathered last week with the Durham Workers Assembly to demand the North Carolina Department of Labor pass OSHA guidelines to help keep workers safe from heat illness. Their testimonies included one of a worker who passed out from heat exhaustion in July. Kamala Harris has agreed to participate in a roundtable with the Teamsters International Union. The American Federation of Teachers put out a statement about the shooting in a Georgia school last week, mourning those affected and condemning politicians who oppose any form of gun control. Alabama lawmakers put the head of the Department of Corrections in the hot seat last week over continued violence in state prisons. One Alabama lawmaker wants to further restrict unemployment benefits in the state, which already have some of the most ungenerous policies in the country. The National Federation of Federal Employees, NFI, which represents many federal firefighters, say that the job classifications do not accurately reflect the responsibilities of its members, and as a result, they are not properly compensated. Biden officially proposed a measly 2% pay increase for federal employees last week, less than the average raise for all workers this year of 5.2%, and less than the average raise the year before of 4.6%. And despite the consumer price index having increased 2.9% over the last year. This falls well below the proposal from congressional Democrats of 7.4%. Federal unions criticized the proposal. The Alabama Political Reporter reached out for a response from the president of the North Alabama Area Labor Council to Governor Ivey's Labor Day message. My response was that if Ivey wanted to thank Alabama's workers, she could start by standing with her CWA constituents, striking against AT&T, a giant multi-billion-dollar corporation, but I won't be holding my breath. AFGE President Reverend Everett Kelly panned Elon Musk's idea of a Department of Government Efficiency as just a way to make Musk and his friends richer. That wraps up Last Week in Southern Labor. If we missed anything, send us a message at tvlr.fm/contact and we'll include it in next week's roundup.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.